warm welcome to each one of you. This is the Naomi Talk Show with yours truly, Liz Kenywa, and kama kawaida, I want to take this opportunity to appreciate, to thank each one of you that has continued to support us by watching our content and sharing it out with your loved ones. To everyone who is new or watching us for the very first time, karibu nyumbani. That is what we're going to tell you. And we assure you that through each story that we get to share here, that story will educate you, equip you, and inspire you to do life the way God intended. And also to realize that our God is still at work, even in our days when sometimes people think miracles don't exist. I pause at that point because today I have a special guest. Unaona naenda pole pole. I have a special guest because sometimes when accidents happen, tragedy strikes, and amidst the chaos, somehow God is able to have a miraculous story by rescuing someone against the odds of all those chaos, to live to tell the story of what exactly happened. And of course, at the end of the day, to glorify God in the midst of all that we may have gone through. Imagine this, that you wake up one day, you go to work, and of course you expect to come back home. But unfortunately, the unexpected happens. You get involved in a road accident, actually a near fatal accident. But you know what? In the midst of all that, our God is still a miracle working God. And that you will hear it from our story today. So ili nisiendelee sana, allow me to introduce our guest today. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Karibu. Kindly
Asante.
Introduce yourself.
My name is Evelyn Munyao. Her daughter, a wife, a mother of 3 gentlemen who are all living. I'm born again. And I love Jesus so much. I fellowship at Deliverance Church in Bakasi. And our pastor, Reverend Elias Gitonga. And it's an honor to be here with you today.
Karibu sana. We are more honored to have you, my dear, to share with us the experience that God took you through. And here we are to tell the world that He is able.
Yes.
There's a song when I was getting ready that was going through my mind. I'm not very gifted musically, but it says, God is able to do all that He says He will do. He's gonna fulfill every promise. Well, how does it go? Don't give up on God, because He won't give up on you. I know you know that song.
Yeah.
So since I don't want to embarrass myself by trying to sing, let me just try to phrase it. So that's a song that was crossing my mind.
Yeah.
But before we even get carried away and start singing, on the 1st of September 2022, ulirauka. Ukarauka. Alafu, ukaenda job.
Yeah. Sometimes when I flash back to that day, I agree there is God, because I left very early in the morning. I went all the way to Makueni, where I was going to supervise a project, and did everything throughout the day. Everything was so successful. And then I decided to come back to Nairobi because we had a wedding in our church that Saturday. So
it was a Friday?
No, it was on a Thursday.
Okay.
So of course, I needed to have a day for preparations and all that. So I came back. But somewhere in Makutano Chumvi, I felt some weird feeling within me. and I just wanted to lay back and relax.
Like take a nap.
Kind of. So I was with a colleague. Then I told him, I feel like getting to the Shell petrol station, just at the junction, at Makutano Junction, there is a Shell petrol station. I told him, I want to get into this Shell petrol station and rest a bit. Because, of course, that's my behavior. I behave that a lot, especially when I'm driving and I feel like I get into any nearest petrol station and relax a bit. Then he tells me, I have a choir practice in our church. And if we get here, I'll be late. Why can't you allow me to drive you? So that we don't keep waiting for quite some time. And because, of course, he had been driving me on a few occasions, or very many other occasions, since we were working together in different parts of this country. So he took over the driving seat. And I leaned my seat and I tightened my belt and I slept.
Kawaida.
Normally.
When you trust the driver, unaangushanga kiti, my friend, na unasema.
Definitely. Of course, he had carried me so many other times to different parts, and I had no reason of doubting the safety. And also, I was expectant. Around 5 months expectant, and you know, sometimes expectancy, and when you become exhausted, you exhausted. There is no
around 5 months kuna ka fatigue.
Yes, that fatigue and traveling and coming back the same day.
Yeah.
So I slept. When I slept, I never woke up on the road or in the car again. I woke up in the hospital. The hospital bed. I didn't know how I got there. I couldn't tell myself. I couldn't think. I couldn't do anything. But the only thing I would hear people scream. I would just hear the scream. I was not in pain, just lie there, but helpless. I couldn't stand. I couldn't do anything. So by the time I opened my eyes and tried to see people from afar, I was actually telling another friend of mine, I saw like that a blind man who was touched by Jesus, and Jesus asks him, what could you see? I see people walking like trees. So I could see people, but not from a far distance. But at least I would identify some. So when I opened my eyes, I saw red numbers, emergency. Those numbers. Emergency.
The numbers or the writing of the word emergency.
Yes. The word emergency in red. And still I couldn't figure out where I was. So I tried to think through. I can't think. But I could hear people scream. I could hear people screaming. So in that process of trying to figure out where I was, I saw one of our pastors in Deliverance Church, City Gates. It's in Mombasa Road. At the river, yes. So when I saw him, now I started thinking in my heart, so I know this person. Why can't he come closer? Of course, he was with the wife. Why can't they come closer so that I can talk to them? Little did I know, the reason they were there, it's because of me. My pastor had sent them to come and see what was happening with me. So for quite some time, they never came near me. I could see them walk up and down Wopakan, but they were not coming to where I was lying. So in that process, my sister also came in. So my sister, the only sister I have, my sister comes and I when I saw her, I just asked her, "What are you doing here?" And then she looks at me and she says, she says it in Kiswahili. It's a wrong word. She said, "Kwani wewe ni mjinga? You are in an hospital bed and you're asking me what I am doing here." That's why I've started saying it. She used but no, I think she couldn't understand why I am asking her what she's doing here. Now, when she said I was in an hospital, I asked her, "In an hospital, doing what?" She told me, you were involved in an accident around 2 hours ago. And you were brought here by those cops standing there. So now I happen to see the reflector jackets. So now I started getting where I was and whatever was happening with me. Kidogo kidogo, I started seeing people flow in, but I couldn't see...
People that you knew?
Yeah, people that I knew. I started seeing people that I knew. The group grew bigger, but they were not coming closer to me again. They were just moving up and down, up and down. That time, my husband had not arrived at the scene. He was nowhere. I came to know later that his phone was off. And we normally say, for me to be living today is because God decided to switch off his phone and he didn't know it was off. All that time.
Okay.
He didn't know.
Wacha kwanza tupoza hapa turudi. Pale simu ilikuwa off. Like how? Then we come back and pick from the fact that the crowd was growing.
So when I was leaving Makueni, I was in Bomboni, that area of Bomboni. We talked. He called me. It was around 5:30. He called me. He was leaving the office. So he was asking if I was anywhere nearer so that I can pass by. We go home together. So I told him, I have not even left. Yes, I have not left the institution where I was. So he told me, okay, let me go home, find me home. The best thing is, he wasn't calling me with his phone.
Oh, he was calling with the...
He used the office phone to call me. So when the accident happened, the cops took my phone and they tried all my fingers.
When you're unconscious now?
Yes, to open the fingerprint. And it opened. So when it opened, I had talked with that office number. I had talked with my dad. I had talked with my sister. And I had talked with one of my staff who was at the site. And another one person, I can't remember who it was, but they were all called by the cops. So when the cops called, and the other number was my husband's personal number. They called the personal number. It was not available. It was Mteja. They called my dad. Now my dad is the one who called my pastor in Embakasi. And now and they also called my best couple, the best man. And he called several other friends of mine who he knew they should be knowing what is happening. Because I think when the cops broke the news, it's like they said I was not alive. Which I came to realize later, it was true.
It is true, you are not alive.
So the people that my dad called, and now when he called my pastor, now my pastor decides he won't leave the house. He is going to call the pastor who was nearer to where the accident happened, which was around at the river Tomawe. That's what I came to know later. Me, I did see the happening of the accident and all that. So now when they called the office number, God works in miracles. Someone was in the office, a cleaner was in the office cleaning at night. And The cleaner receives the phone. And they are trying to ask, do you know the owner of this number and all that? They say, actually, this is an office number, and the person who is normally in this office is no longer in the office, he already left. So she went out to try to find out if they could get now, the other people who are working could get his number. They went, they said who it was, but still the number was off. His personal number was off. So they had to get someone from the workplace, come to our house, deliver the news, and of course pick him and bring him to where.
So which news were they given that they were bringing home?
It's sad. They were saying your wife has been involved in an accident and it is not, the situation is not good. That's what they told him. So by the time the person is coming in the house and telling him, he realizes his phone is off. That he's in the bedroom playing with the children. The children had followed him in the bedroom. And he has no idea whatever is happening. So when they picked him, they brought him all the way to the river. I was taken to our facility around there. So now when he came in, I saw him together with a cousin of ours. I saw him, and then I said, I just felt a relief in my heart. I said, finally he is here. That I knew he would do anything that would be possibly done to make sure I go to a better facility. And of course, when he arrived, things kicked off. Although he was lost, thank God to wonderful mothers around me who took it over, prepared everything, the transfer files and all that. Now, when my best man, he was in Kitui, going to Nairobi. Apparently, he found the accident very fresh. He saw a damaged car, nothing existing, and then he just told the wife, "Hi, hiyo accident sidhani watu wamesurvive." Apparently, he didn't see the number plate. Because of course, if he had seen the number plate now, he would have parked it because he knew the number plate of the car that I was using. He didn't see the number plates. So by the time he is getting to his house, he gets a call from my dad. He never went into his house. He just took a U-turn and went back. He said, that is the car that I have. I have actually seen that accident, the scene of the accident. So he came back. On his way coming back, he's trying to figure out where he can get an ambulance, because the people who were there, they were telling him, we are trying to find an ambulance, but we are not able. The facility I was in had an ambulance, but it was not functioning. It was not in use. So he used his contacts, thank God for useful contacts, to get a Red Cross ambulance that was fully equipped, even with blood. That was what I was told. And they came, I'm told in 20 minutes they were already there. And now they started doing what they could do to at least to save my life. And that's what happened. So when he came, the transfers and all that started.
So now you find yourself in a better facility that can quickly, of course, attend to your emergency need.
Now, before we left that facility in at the river, we are given a file, and they are trying to pass through the file so that they can hand over it to the ambulance staff and all that. And they say, one, we have lost the expectancy, have lost the pregnancy, and we have no child.
Mm.
Mimi, I didn't hear.
Yeah.
I didn't hear. No, those are stories that I now get from the people who are
I can only imagine.
eyewitnesses and those who witnessed. But I hear my husband told the staff, it can't be.
Mm.
It can't be. Take back your words. It can't be.
So is it that you are in a coma or you're just unconscious?
I think at that point I was now unconscious. And I was not, I think they had taken me to the ambulance or something. I couldn't hear the conversations. And also, I was not so conscious to when I saw him, I settled. So, of course, I was not in pain because I had lost blood, because you could touch the skin like this and it couldn't go back. I had lost a lot of blood with so many injuries that we came to know of now when I was transferred to the other facility now. So the journey now starts.
So let me take you back. You said that when the police made the phone call, they said this person, it's like we've lost her. But the driver?
The driver was alive, but he had broken one of his feet. So now, let me take you back also. When now my pastor sent one of his pastors from Athi River to go to the scene to see what had happened. He arrives there and he finds one of the cops who was remaining there to man, because the others said
taken the body. Let us call it the body.
That's actually what they said.
Yes. And that's what they recorded.
Yeah, right. That's what they had recorded. So now, when Pastor Fred gets there, he finds that cop and then he asks the cop, officer, I see there is an accident that happened here, and I see the remains. Would I ask whether the people who are in the car were alive? Yeah. Then the cop tells him, what are you asking? You already can see the results of so what else do you want to be told? So he never gave him a concrete answer of yes or alive or no. He said, you can see for yourself. Then he still asks him, and where are the remains then?
The remains of those who have
Yeah, those who are in the car. He said they have just been thrown to that facility in Athi River. Then now he calls my pastor and tells him, Pastor, we have no hope. He asked him, why? I am here. I am at the scene, and all I can say is hakuna hope. Actually, that's the word he used.
Usually the polite way of relaying some of these messages.
Yeah, hakuna hope. At that time, now my dad is putting a lot of pressure on my pastor. No, my dad is also a pastor. I'm a pastor's kid. Deliverance Church, Katangini. It's in Makueni North region. So now, my dad is in stress. So now, Pastor Fred comes to the facility knowing he's just going to confirm.
Huyu tunamjua.
Yeah. But he comes, and by the time they get there, they find me I could move the head, that's what they say. And a lot had already happened. So there was no hope, according to them. And even as they were transferring me to the other facility, there were so many decisions that were supposed to be made, because they didn't know whether I would survive. But anyway, here I am today, seated on this seat.
Amen. We really
Yeah, we bless the
the
Lord.
Lord.
We
So I'm
bless
looking
the
at these
Lord.
cops that brought you to the hospital,
Yeah.
and probably I'm sure in their recordings they have written "gone"
Yeah.
in a softer way,
Yeah.
"gone,"
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden this person is not gone.
Yeah. Actually, no. When after some time in the hospital, because the vehicle that caused all this, they took it to the station and all that. The person now wanted to talk to us so that maybe we can release the vehicle because it's a business vehicle and to continue operating as we wait. I get out of the hospital. Then I couldn't talk. Of course, we were talking to my husband, and after some time, he gave them the go ahead. So when I was discharged from the hospital, around 2-3 months down the line, our insurance wants a report of the same. We had not added anything or anything. We just decided life is the priority. We're not doing anything else. So it's after now around 3 months or 2 months and some. I can't remember the exact time. So I'm supposed to be taken to the station to record a statement. I couldn't walk. They just supported me, and the police would not come to record the statement from the house. So I was taken there. So when I was taken out of the car, I hear some cops were seated, around 3 of them. I hear them say, they call each other, "Hey, ule mama alifufuka ndio huyo." So they didn't know I had. They didn't know I had. But of course I had, and it happened. One of them was coming to record the statement for me. So he came in, I was put on somewhere to settle, and he's there. Then I tell him, by the way, nimesikia vile mmesema. Tell me what happened. Sema, we are scared actually. It was a ghost. Why? You are done. By the time we collect you there,
you are gone.
You are not alive. We tried to do just the primary assessment, and we are shocked you're here. Then, so something had happened when my sister went to tell them to give her my phone. They never gave her the phone. They told her, mwenyewe akipona atakujia. Because of course they knew, it's like they knew. So when I went, I even after they recorded the statement and all that, and then I told them, now you can give me my phone. They said, mwenye ako nayo hayuko hapa. Then I tell them, then give me an abstract and an OB for the phone. Up to date, they have never given me. Until I just decided to.
Walikugawa kitabu?
I decided to let it. So that brought a lot of things in my head. No, people can conclude things, but God can change everything, can turn around everything that people would think was meant to destroy you. Yeah.
So hapa mahali walikupeleka hospitali and they said this one is a gone case. Have you ever tried to find out what transpired there?
Sometime back, I think last year, I really wanted to do it. But after sitting down and agree, we decided there is no need. Now that I survived and I'm doing well, I'm healing, we decided not to go that way. Because of course, Now the other facility that we went in, after looking at the file, the primary thing is to look at the files and all that. They said the only emergency thing that they are going to do is for the surgery for the ankle, because my talus bone was broken. I was already out. So they said this is an emergency because the talus can't be out for more than 10 hours, and then survives, it would die. So now I'm taken to the theater with an emergency of the foot. And nothing much had been done, only that I didn't have blood. So they delayed a little bit to give me blood, because I totally did have blood. So I'm told I got to that other facility by midnight 1. But the operation was done late in the morning, around 9 a.m. After I had received enough blood for that specific surgery. So the operation was done successfully. I was taken back to the ward now to do the other primaries, like to examine whether the things that were in the other file are true. They did the first scan, especially for the baby. We did some scans. They called another person to come and do. Then they say, I can hear some life inside you. But the files say otherwise. So they did it like 3 times with different people, and they still gave the same response. Then they said, we think you still have a child. That went down. They kept doing that whole week. I think for 4 days for that week. They kept on doing every day to ascertain whether for sure there was life, which they confirmed. And now I started developing other problems. My stomach grew. It was very big.
As in it swell?
Yes, swelling, very big. And painful. Like breathing became a problem. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I didn't anyone to even to place even a figure on me. That that was a very painful affair. So now they started figuring out, called specialists and all that. Until now, that one evening, they had tried everything, because they came to discover now I had not gone to the ladies for all that time.
Sorry, this is how long now that you've not gone to the washrooms?
I was admitted on Thursday around midnight to 1 a.m. And now we are in the other week around Tuesday. And myself, I had also not discovered, because of course I had a catheter for the urine. I had not discovered that I had not gone for a long call and all that. So now they started trying to figure out. So in the process of ticking those boxes, they realized I have not gone for the ladies for that time. Those are around 4 or 5 days. That was an evening, a very, very memorable evening for me, because my husband had an exam which he came to do on my bedside online. He came to do on my bedside, and I kept disrupting him to come and give me some fresh air and all that. And anytime we would start to come to my bedside, You'd be taken out of the system. And he would go back again and start begging them to get him back. May God bless him. That was a real sacrifice. So in the same time he's doing the exam, we had requested for a specialist whom he was also waiting, so that he can come and after the examination to be able to give a concrete feedback of whatever was happening. So finally he's done with the exam at around 10:30 p.m. And at that time, the specialist had not arrived yet. It's becoming late. He's supposed to get home and see how the children spent the day. He stayed up to until midnight, but the specialist had not yet arrived. But he could say, "Oh, I was attending an emergency. Immediately I'm done, I am coming." So he went home. And just as I think after an hour or two after he went, the specialist came in and did the primary examination and all that. And then he says, "This is an emergency case." And they asked me where my kin was. He has just left. But I told them, "Me, I can sign for you. Bring, I sign that." Because, of course, I had not slept for some days. I was sleepy, I was exhausted, and I had a lot of pain. I needed something that would be done to me and take away the pain, because I would be injected some medication and the pain would not go until I would only be given some anesthesia. They were used to control my pain. Because once they injected on me, I would sleep.
I would black out.
Yeah. And then it couldn't be used for more than once a day.
And this time, it's not affecting the pregnancy. Because I'm sure now, there's a baby here, there's strong medication here, and there's also the carrier of the pregnancy who is still not...
Yeah, who's not even stable.
Who is not stable.
That one, I don't know. At some point, they were contemplating on just focusing on me and forgetting about the pregnancy, because they said if there is anyone we going to save out of the two of you, it's the mother. It is me. So I think at this point they looked at taking care of me and making sure I am managed well. Only that those medications will only last 2 or 3 hours, and then I would be back again to the pain now for the whole day until the following day at the same time.
Is there a way they were cushioning the baby from absorbing those medications?
I don't know. I don't even know.
Because I'm trying to imagine.
I have never even known.
We always told anything that goes in the mother system goes to the
baby also.
To the baby.
Yeah.
And they have to use anesthesia for you to black out.
Yes.
Where? Okay.
It was an unimaginable affair altogether. But I want to believe God was in this whole situation and all that. And by the time the specialists come in, my kid has already left. So I'm here, I want to sign, not because I am okay to sign all that, but I want them to do it very fast.
To relieve the pain.
So that I can sleep. So the specialist said, "You can't sign, you are not fit to sign." So the hospital calls my husband again. Apparently he didn't hear the phone. Of course, I think he got home and sleep
out also
took him because he was exhausted. Working, hospital exam. And all that. It was a hard time for him. That one, I'm so sure. How he managed, it's only our Lord who knows how he did it. So now, I think he woke up at around 5. And he finds a missed call from the hospital. You know what that means, especially when you have a patient in the hospital and you find a mystical that came at around very wee hours. The first thought is my patient still alive, or is there breaking news that they need to give me? So he called back immediately. Then they tell him, come to the hospital immediately. Because you have to sign such and such papers for the patient to go to the theater soonest possible. Which he did very fast. By 6, he was already there. He had already signed the papers. Now we waiting for the specialist to arrive. And by 7 or some minutes to 7, I'm taken back to theater. And for once, I looked forward to going to the theater. Looking forward to get into that theater bed. Yes. They took me in. But before we went in, now, of course, my husband had some questions that he wanted to ask the specialist and all that, the findings and all that. And then the specialist tells him, this one, we are going to the theater blindly.
Blindly?
Yeah. We are going to the theater blindly. We don't know what is happening. We are going to discover what is happening on the theater bed.
Okay.
Yes.
So they have not even explained it's a procedure that is going to blah,
no,
blah,
they
blah.
just told him
3 hours, 4 hours, nothing.
They told him the case is serious. We are going there in blindly. We are going to put in cameras first. And now after the cameras, now we just continue with whatever.
Where are the cameras going when there is a baby? I thought there is a constrained space already because the baby is taking up
now
the space.
The mission here is to save one life.
Okay.
For them, they have to save one life.
Okay.
And the one life that has to be saved, it's me. Now the child is not a big priority.
Okay.
Yeah. So put on cameras and all that. Then when he asked them how long it may take,
we don't know.
He said, we are not sure, but let's try 6 hours.
6?
Yeah. So I went in. Of course, now
I'm just confirming I've heard you right.
Yes.
Okay.
So now from there, it's a story that I'm normally given by him and of course the people who are around us. They say after I went in, they waited for the 6 hours and I never came out. They waited 10 hours, I never came out. 12 hours, I never came out.
But what are they saying? These doctors that took you there and the
they
nurses?
They were in there and they
are not coming out.
There is no space to leave to go and tell others, blah, blah, blah. Until now, around between 7 and 8 in the evening. That's when they came out. And he was still sitting on the bench on the waiting area, on the theater area. So he asked them what happened. Of course, he hasn't seen me because after that I was taken direct to the ICU. They tell him, let's meet in one of the doctor's rooms. I think he thought he ain't going into that room alone. We had one of our very good friends and our mom, and my pastor was also there. And my best man was also there, had already arrived. And he told the hospital, I'm not leaving them. We come in, all of us together. They went in. And they were given a very long story of what had happened. But the bottom line is they said the surgery was successful. But it had really given them a lot of headache in there.
So what were they operating on?
No, they discovered my intestines were broken at different points.
From the accident scene.
We don't know whether from the accident scene or it's from the facility where I was first taken, because a lot happened there.
Okay,
Also.
through the Uko First facility, names withheld. It's a very good facility, names withheld. So what mismanagement happened there? Okay, mistakes happen, by the way, so we are not blaming any hospital, by the way.
Yeah. So now we came to discover later on the process of medication that the cuts I had on my abdomen, especially on my left groin here,
Accident cut.
was not an accident cut.
Oh.
Never happened on the accident, because they tried to say it was the seat belt, but I did have injuries here along this base and across there. I didn't have any injury.
So there were 2 cuts here.
It was one very big cut here, the major one. A major one, a deep one.
When you say deep, it's deep and major.
It's deeper. I think we shall get to that point.
Okay.
It was major and deeper. And it was already covered by the time I was transferred to the other facility. He had already did a lot of things there and covering it. So apparently when I go to the other facility, they never bothered with this one, because they thought it was already attended to and all. And according to what they had written on the file, it was...
Ilikuwa imefunikwa vizuri.
Yes, and you're not supposed to open it.
Yeah.
Freshly. It's supposed to take a day or 2 so that you can open it. So they didn't bother with it. Hey, God. So now they say I had different cuts on my intestines. And they were leaking.
Your intestines were leaking?
They were leaking inside to that other space. And that's why...
The swelling now.
The swelling and all that. I couldn't pass gas. I couldn't... Nothing. So... in the theater room, I ended up with a colostomy. I came out with a colostomy bag and so many cuts. Another one here, another one, because at the different points, they had to make different cuts to manage it on that same day, which they did, and it was successful. So now, apparently, all of them inside that room, none of them has ever heard of a colostomy. Now they asked the doctor to explain what is this he is calling a colostomy. Then the doctor explains. All of them keep quiet. No one is talking to the other. They leave the doctor's office. Everybody gets into their car and drives away. No one is talking to the other. Nobody is asking the other, now, what about this one? Quietly. Everybody into their car. They went home. So now I'm in ICU for quite a longer time. But finally, I came out.
Me, I'm still at that cut. that made the intestines.
Now, when along the process of medication and all that, one of the medics was really following up on it, and he opens up to us and he tells us that this is not a
normal cut.
It's normal. Normally, this one is normally done in the morgue when someone passes out and they need to inject. I don't know how they call it. That's normally what happens. They cut on the left because that's where the heart
So
is.
in short, ulikuwa mortuary at one point basi.
I was on the morgue table.
Sawa.
So when now we tried to follow up, when now, you remember when we went to the police station and
they
I'm trying
said
to
you're a
ask,
ghost. Yeah.
they said ule mama alifufuka ndio huyu. I tried to ask and it's like they are even scared to tell me. But what I hear is in the process of doing all that and waiting for someone to authorize. The person who was supposed to authorize was mteja. He could be reached. By the time he is reached, there are so many other people who have come in, and I have already moved my end and scared the people in there, and they have rushed me to the emergency.
So you've been removed from the mortuary to the emergency now?
Yes. Now that's the story now. Because I didn't see, I didn't hear.
Of course, yeah.
I wasn't there too. So, but we left it lie. We didn't want to.
Had they put the hiyo dawa unasema ya mortuary?
No, they didn't. There was nobody to authorize.
Oh, that is where now God came through.
That's why we say it was a miracle for my husband's phone to be off.
Juu angekuja authorize.
And even himself, he doesn't know how it went off. He is not aware. He didn't know how his phone was off to date.
So wanasemanga inakatangwa kubwa, so I'm trying to imagine.
Very deep, because now we had to get a wood manager. One of the best wood managers from Kenyatta Hospital. We had to bring her in to the facility where I was. And she would come every day. Do you know, when they are trying to clean inside, angeingiza mkono mpaka hapa. I wish I would share some of the photos that were taken by the hospital. Hivi, ndani kabisa. Because
from that space.
Yes, from that space.
To be able to attend to the intestines.
Now when I asked the medic who opened to us that it was not a normal cut from the accident, they tell us it's normally made very deep because the syringe used is very big and it has to come near the heart so that it can go around the body.
Oh, yeah, mortuary.
Yeah.
Ni kikubwa, ni kinono.
Yeah, according to her. Me, I have never seen one, so I don't know. So I think God just...
So that phone being off, now I'm getting it why you're saying, thank God the phone was off. Because angefika, authorize?
Yeah, if he was the first person to
respond
to the phone calls, of course he would get to the facility.
Yeah.
And...
all things work together for good.
All things work together for
by
good.
By the way.
Hapo
ni mahali mtu anauliza. Sasa mbona huyu hakuitika simu nini?
Yeah,
but
then
God understands nikiwakisha hii.
Yeah.
Hapa kutaenda hivi.
This is a forgone case.
And the baby is still here.
Yes.
And they're having to put their hand in.
Actually, I used to ask them, I would actually feel the movement. Wangeingiza mkono wasukume mtoto one side carefully, because if you mess a little bit you burst the waters. Carefully wamalizane hapo, then waweke hizo vitu. You know, there are those things that are put into very deep wounds. They look like sponges. A lot of them. They would pack a lot of them in there and then now cover from outside. And it would be done every day in the morning. Every day in the morning.
For how long?
For as long as, I don't know, even for more than a month. More than a month, because I was in the facility for more than a month.
So now the baby is almost 6 months. If you're looking at
the baby is now,
the
baby is still growing. Even if the mother is not feeding, I used to survive on glucose, just that glucose. I survived on it for a very long time. I couldn't eat, of course. My system has been tampered with. It has been done, and I couldn't eat. Yes, I couldn't eat fire mouth.
So I'm trying to imagine. Okay, I've never seen the intestines of a human being, but kuna ile matumbo. Usually very
yes.
delicate.
Yes, you can imagine.
And it's been tampered with.
Yes.
It
it was cut 3 times from different points. Yeah, and all of them were leaking. All of them were
There is
leaking.
God, oh, there is
Yeah.
God, oh. So for a whole month, every day, this guy is coming to put the hand inside the stomach, move the baby on one side, do the cleaning up, but eventually the kidonda heals.
I was still discharged with that wound. A very big. It was an hard wound to manage. Because remember, it's not only what you're seeing here.
Yeah, it's
deep.
And you know, if they're doing it to a quote unquote dead person, it's rough.
Yes.
It's very rough.
Yes.
So
It's
I can only
very
try
rough.
to imagine.
Very rough. Very rough. And then, while in the hospital, now, I think this side now started to grow big, to swell. You would start like it has swollen. Because now they had placed me on the bed like this, and at some point they would turn me a little bit on the right side. So I think now this side started communicating with this side. So the pus and all that waste from this side wanted to exit from this side. So I ended up being cut here again, this other side from the hospital to remove that kind of dirt that was communicating from this side.
But this one was gentle, of course. This was more gentle.
It was done in theater and all that to remove all that. Yes.
What?
Yes.
Hey. 6 months, the baby is there. When are you discharged?
I was discharged in October. Sometime in October. I can't even remember the date. I wish I had checked before I came here. I was discharged in October on a wheelchair. I couldn't turn myself. I couldn't do anything. But of course, I had started taking soft foods to fire the mouth.
So you're no longer now on the glucose?
I'm no longer on glucose.
Soft solids?
Yes, soft solids. And they had already started training me on taking oral medication. It was a hard affair. It was a hard affair because the day I was discharged, we realized, of course, we kept on tracking our bills and all that. And our medical cover had been depleted. And now we try to pay in cash now. But the Lord provided. We did not really struggle, I think, because, of course, we kept on tracking the bill. So there was psychological preparation and all that. But now it happens now, that day of discharge, my pastor also is coming to see me normally, together with mom, and they didn't know we were being discharged. Because the reason we had not communicated, because previously, 2 weeks earlier, the hospital had communicated that I was going to be discharged. But all of a sudden, after psychological preparation and all that, they changed. They said there are things that couldn't allow me to be discharged at that point. So it became a disappointment. Of course, I had stayed a lot of time in the hospital. I'm not seeing the children and all that.
ICU or general ward?
I stayed in ICU. I stayed in HDU.
But in ICU, were you in a coma?
I couldn't hear anything. I didn't even see myself in the ICU.
You could hear. You couldn't even hear when you're in ICU.
I think the time I came to hear the sounds of the machines, I think I was taken out of ICU the following day. But me personally, I can't tell how long I was in the ICU because I couldn't hear, I couldn't feel. I couldn't feel.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there a time we negotiated with God? Or I don't want to say question. I don't want to say the word question. But ile yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Many times,
Mm.
several times. But apparently, those are some of the prayers that God never answered for me.
So we truly hope that this far you have been blessed by the story that we are airing of our sister Dena. I call her Dena. And keep checking for part 2 of this story, because it's a story that cannot be told in one sitting within the limited time. So keep checking for part 2 of this story. God bless you.